9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. This is Courtney Rice, your WWT PR princess. Everything you know about all things Elite. I mean, you could call me Madam Elite. People call me Stone Cold. Whatever you want to call me, I am here to spend time with you because this is the first live Dynamite of 2025, where it's not airing just on TBS, but simulcast on Max. And this is an historic moment. I'm very excited for it. I'm actually going to do it on TBS today because in my family household, we have a living room where we only have Max and everybody's doing college football. So I probably would try it out next week. So it's just seeing that, but I'm very super excited to be here with all of you. We have a stacked card tonight. And also I know it's Christmas, but this is a late Christmas gift for me because I have not one, not two, but 3 of my clients on tonight's show, which is crazy. Of course, we have my newest client, Jamie Hayter, taking on Julia Hart. My clients, the Acclaimed, taking on the Hurt Syndicate. And I smell a lot of shenanigans throughout that whole match. I smell them. So get ready for that. And it looks like they have an intro for 2025, which is really cool that Dynamite has a cool intro. So, and also, of course, one of my favorite clients, OC, Freshly Squeezed, for the first time ever taking on Hangman, Adam Page. So doing that. Thank you, Boza, for joining on this watch along tonight. And yeah, of course, I'm happy to do this watch along. This is going to be awesome. Yeah. Hey, it's a better way to kick off. Of course, we have the Death Riders taking on Rated FTR. And also, we just got another match added. This was actually added an hour before Dynamite. We have a triple threat match for a Casino Gauntlet Royale match, and the winner gets the #1 spot next week. So, Swerve Strickland, Roderick Strong, Jay White. Whoever wins gets that. And we are joined by Kazuchika Okada because it looks like he's coming down to the ring. But as I mentioned, the trios match, Adam Copeland, Rated FTR, taking on Jon Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta. And that's going to be a fun one. And of course, highlighting the ladies again with my client, Jamie Hayter, taking on Julia Hart. It's going to be fun. Also, my other clients, the Acclaimed, taking on the Hurt Syndicate. And as I mentioned, I smell a lot of shenanigans in this match. And I think it's going to be something that a lot of people did not expect because I know everybody, I've been talking about this for over 2 months on my watch along for Dynamite. And I don't think Caster's going to join the Hurt Syndicate because I feel like there's a lot more deeper dive to this. So we're hearing from Jon Moxley. This is kind of after what happened at World's End because we also saw the fallout from World's End because it was this past weekend. And if you're joining my watch along, it's a good card considering that on Saturday it's Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. You are correct, Boza, this weekend. I'm telling you, if you're a wrestling fan, it's going to be so busy because we have Fight for the Fallen. We have the first SmackDown of 2025, first TNA of 2025 tomorrow. Then, of course, we have New Japan doing Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty this weekend. And, of course, we have Raw on Netflix and also NXT with New Year's Evil. I don't know how I'm going to function on this the next couple days because there's just so much happening. But let's hear what the AEW World Champion has to say. Okay, so we heard from John Moxley. Of course, we heard it from Rated FTR. And oh, I'm sorry. We're kicking off with my client, Freshly Squeezed OC. Of course, I gotta put on my shades. I mean, anytime OC is coming on, I gotta put on my shades. Because I love this guy. So as I mentioned, we've heard from Rated FTR. We've also heard from John Moxley, because it looks like Moxley wants to destroy the AEW World Heavyweight Championship belt, and he does not want no one getting his hands on it. But I will say Orange Cassidy will do whatever it takes, because he said, because even though he really doesn't need the AEW World Championship, but I would love for him to be world champion one day. But he said he's not going to stop as long as John Moxley is champion. And he is a man of his word. There he is. Freshly squeezed. Okay. I always got to put on my shades whenever yep. I always have to put on my shades whenever OC. Hi, Bobby. Thank you for joining and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody joining on this. This is AEW Dynamite Fight for the Fallen, first live Dynamite of 2025. We're kicking off with my client, Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy, against Hangman Adam Page for the first time ever. I'm just really surprised. But they're definitely kicking it off right at the gate. I mean, obviously, the trios match is going to be the main event. Also, Dax was mentioning this is Fight for the Fallen, and this is in North Carolina. And AEW is doing their part on raising a lot of awareness with the hurricanes that happened this past summer. So I'm really happy they are kicking off the new year and trying to get back and give support to a community that was damaged throughout the hurricane. So kudos to them for doing their part, especially all year round. And here we go. For the first time ever, Hangman Adam Page against my client, Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy. Here we go. They both are very even. that's just how he is. That's one of the things I love about Orange Cassidy. He's just like, I'm just gonna be here and I'm just gonna wrestle. Oh, that's one of the things I love about him. He's cool as a cucumber, but when he's in the ring, he can be very dangerous. And Hangman's already irate. Kick out by Hangman. My client Harley Cameron will be in action tomorrow at Ring of Honor. Yes, Bobby, feel free to check out Harley Cameron. She will be in action tomorrow on Ring of Honor, and I'm very excited that she is expanding her little wings on wrestling in Ring of Honor, because obviously Tony Khan purchased Ring of Honor. Also, I would definitely love to see her in a match, but I am making a bold prediction that she is going to get her first win in 2025, and I would love for her to get her first win at Grand Slam in Australia, because I feel like that would be a huge momentum win for her. So, yay! Yeah, AEW is on Max. The last 2 months of TV and pay-per-views. Year one, WWE is on Netflix too. Yes, exactly, Boza. And just to let you know, if you are watching Max, they started adding some of the content from when they first started in 2019, but it's going to be an ongoing process. I know they started adding some of the recent content back from October, but as I said, it's an ongoing process. I'm happy they're starting to add a lot more content from like Dynamite, of course, Rampage, which was previously canceled last year, and also Collision. And also don't forget, this Saturday is the first Collision of 2025, where we airing not just on TNT, but simulcast from Max as well. So I'm very excited. It's going to be on Max. I just can't wait when the first pay-per-view is going to start because this will be awesome. So turning back to the Max. All right, so turning back to the Max, it looks like Hangman's trying to get the upper hand on OC, putting him on the barricade, but I know he'll be fine. I know OC, and I will say this, even though Hangman does act a little bit like a scumbag, fans do love him. He does have a cheering section, Hangman Adam Page. But don't ever count out OC, because when he's in the ring, he can be dangerous. Oof. OC's trying to get the upper hand. And also, folks, just a reminder, because they aired this over the weekend, AEW's first pay-per-view will be in March with Revolution. They aired the commercial if you're watching World's End. So just want to put a friendly reminder. Hi, Sean. Thank you for joining on this special edition of AEW Dynamite. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everybody else. If you are joining us, this is the first, live Dynamite of 2025, where it's airing not just on TBS, but simulcasting from Max. And we are kicking off for the first time ever, one-on-one, Hangman Adam Page against my client, Mr. Freshly Squeezed, Orange Cassidy. And these guys have really been delivering it. Hangman looked like he was getting upper hand, but also OC's trying to counter. Oh, nice counter by Orange. He's feeling it. What's he going to do here? Hangman countered. Landed on his feet. Ooh, that was a nasty bump that OC took. But he's okay. He'll get back on this. I'm not really worried about it because he will get back on it. Why did I think Grand Slam was a pay-per-view? Thanks for clarifying that, Courtney. Been confused with Grand Slam on pay-per-view or TV. Of course, Boza. Yes, Grand Slam in Australia is going to be on TV. February 15th. I would think it would be Collision, but I'm not sure. I guess the time difference with Australia is going to be a little bit weird because they may have to tape it. But hopefully, because we're in January right now, hopefully we get some latest updates on what's happening with Grand Slam in Australia. This is going to be very exciting. The first time they've ever been to Australia. So if I were AEW, I would pretty much leverage onto every single superstar that's based in Australia to really drive it. You have Kyle Fletcher, you have Jay White, you have Harley Cameron, Buddy Matthews. And I have to correct my producer from the future, because even though my client, Tony Storm, is from New Zealand, it's kind of close to Australia, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. But just to let you know, we are in picture-in-picture. And even though we are, the match is still live. So, and also, I know Boza is watching this on Max, but if anybody else is watching on Max, just let me know on the feedback. Hi, Lewis. Thank you for joining on tonight's watch along, and Happy New Year to you. I'm actually watching it on TBS because my room only has cable, and my TV in the living room has Max, but my family, of course, is watching college football because New Year's Day, it kicks off the college football tournament. So yeah, it's always hard, but I will be doing a watch along next week where I'll be streaming from Max. So I'm very excited to see that. But if you are watching from Max, just please let me know your feedback. Hopefully the streamline is working well and there's no technical issues, but a lot can happen. So we shall see. Aw, thank you, Bobby. Yes, I'm having a wonderful day. Best way to kick off 2025 is being with all of you tonight because you have been absolutely supportive of this channel on Women's Wrestling Talk. And Bobby, go to enter a question. I'm not sure which pay-per-view I'm doing in 2025 because I have to see the full list on what cities are going to be in it. So I just have to look at it because I know Revolution is going to be in Los Angeles. Of course, they're doing All In Texas. I would think Double or Nothing is going to be in Vegas. I want to say All Out is possibly going to be in Chicago. Of course, Forbidden Door is going to be in London in August. But the rest of the pay-per-views, we don't know where the other cities are. So hopefully we have some fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we have some pay-per-views coming in the East Coast. But we are back live with Hangman Adam Page versus Orange Cassidy. If you're joining us for the first time ever, they're meeting with each other. And it looks like Hangman has the upper hand here. Yes, Boza, just to let you know, today marks the anniversary of All Elite Wrestling installed as a wrestling promotion company. So definitely want to send congratulations to everybody on All Elite Wrestling. The EVPs, Kenny Omega, I will put in Cody because Cody did help with that. The Young Bucks, I will put them in there, even though I've been critical. And of course, Tony Khan. So I definitely want to wish everybody who founded All Elite Wrestling, creating a really space of an alternative side to professional wrestling. Because of course, we all love WWE. Of course, we have TNA, but it's really nice to have another set of alternative wrestling joining to the front. So kudos to them on their 6-year anniversary, and will be plenty more to come. And I hope definitely not just with this deal with Warner Brothers, but I hopefully they get a lot more opportunities too. But exactly, Boza, we want the best for them. So sometimes I have to be critical. I have to provide a lot of critical feedback as well, because there are some things that they need to work on and everything else. And I want them to hit that mainstream. And especially with the opportunity with Warner Brothers, there's countless opportunities there. But we'll talk about that throughout the night. Anyways, heading back to the match, it looks like my client was about to do something, but Hangman caught him. Ooh, nice DDT by OC. Another DDT. Hi, Swag Kid. Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season, New Year's, and ready to get 2025 started. Also, feel free to put in the chat on what goals do you have to accomplish for 2025, because I feel like everybody has something they want to accomplish, and hopefully you get to make that happen because this is the year to do it. So 2025 will be a very amazing year, and I hope all of you make your visions into a reality. So going back to this match, it looks like Hangman's trying to put it away. OC's having a little bit of trouble. Kick out by Hangman. Let's see. Another punch. Oh, a nasty hit. That has to be it. Oh, man. Well, folks, your winner... your winner is Hangman Adam Page. Damn it. And, hey, what's he doing? Why is he beating up on my client? Damn it. You won the match. What more do you want? Jeez. He's like, what are you doing? He's just destroying my client. And Christopher Daniels, as you see, even though he's not the interim EVP, he just punched Christopher Daniels, which I'm not surprised. Damn it. Well, your client did great, Courtney. It will be okay. At least you get 2 more chances to get a win. Yes, that is true. I mean, Hangman is just kick Christopher Daniels in the head. I know Christopher Daniels is not interim EVP anymore. But this is going to be interesting here. Yeah, of course, Hangman. But, OC put on a good showing. We're going to see where this goes because, he did not do well in his Fatal 4-Way match at World's End. So we'll see where this goes. And hopefully he does well. But I had to give credit to my client. And we're also hearing from Jay White, as I mentioned earlier, that he's a part of the triple threat match for the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal, which is happening next week. It's him, Roderick Strong, and Swerve Strickland. So feel free to put in the chat who do you think is going to win. And speaking of my other clients, here are my boys. My boys. Pray for me, guys. Well, this is going to be interesting because, as I mentioned earlier, I smell a lot of shenanigans that are going to happen throughout this match. And yeah, Boza, I would think he did say he's not going to rap after what happened last week on Rampage. Oh boy. Well, you know what? I still love them no matter what. And as I mentioned, I'm okay with them splitting up. It's just I'd rather for them to do it internally between each other instead of having people kind of coming in. So I don't know. And this is really interesting because normally you would see Billy Gunn be at ringside because it's interesting. He wasn't at ringside for them last week on Rampage. So it's going to be really interesting. And it's going to be very, I would think, yeah, Boza, I would think so too. I just can't see them losing, considering they are the winningest, and I'm going to repeat this, winningest tag team in AEW. 67 wins, 18 losses, 1 tie. But I just hope that they can at least coincide with each other. Oh dear God. Well, the match started, so hopefully, I just hope at least it is longer. I just hope it's more than 5 minutes. That's all I'm hoping for. And at least the guys can show a little bit of offense and at least do something. But I'd rather for the Acclaim to split up be internally with each other. So hopefully, but here we go. We have some tag team action between Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley taking on my clients, the Acclaimed, and it looks like MVP is doing commentary during this match. So this is going to be interesting. So I will be watching this very, very closely. Okay, so at least they're showing some offense. I'm going to say this, if you're going to break them up, at least have them break up next week. At least like later in the month. Later in the month. And the one thing I would say about Anthony, he does not take no BS from anybody. I could see him going one-on-one with Shelton Benjamin. If the cards are right, I could see him going one-on-one. Okay, tag is made to Anthony. Anthony's trying to show at least some offense. Some offense. The beloved Scissor King. And it looks like a tag was made from Max. Guys! Focus on the match! Guys! Focus! Focus. And Anthony's standing in the ring. Oh boy. Yeah. Both I'm not even listening to commentary because I have my headphones in, so I'm not surprised. Shelton Benjamin. And Anthony's just standing outside the ring. My God. Not the way I want it to end, but There's no way. It has to be. Yep. So, and I know Anthony, he was in the ring too, and this is going to be very, very hard because Anthony was out the ring, but not a good night for my clients tonight. But it looks like they got a win from their top team. Boza, I don't even know what was that, because at least they could have shown some offense, and if they really want to split, they could have saved it for next week. But speaking of which, Boza, I'll be talking a lot about that in the post show, because it will be on the same link, and I'll be talking about that later. But we're going to hear from Swerve Strickland ahead of his match tonight in the Casino Gauntlet 3-way match. Well, we got to hear from Swerve Strickland ahead of his match tonight. It's just been a not great night for me, especially with 2 out of 3 of my clients losing. OC losing to Hangman, and then you have my other clients, the Acclaimed, in that I don't even want to say a squash match, but dear God. There's just a lot, but I will be talking about this in the post show, and it's actually going to be in the same link tonight. So there's no different links, there's no anything else, but yeah, it's just, I did smell a lot of shenanigans in that match, and yeah, not a nice night for me. So, but it really is. But anyways, this is WWT's PR Princess and everything you need to know about all things Elite. You can call me Madam Elite. You can call me Stone Cold. Whatever name you want to call me. This is Courtney Rice, spending it with all of you on the first live Dynamite of 2025, coming to you from North Carolina, where it's airing not just on TBS, but simulcast from simulcast on Max. And so far, we've had matches. My client, OC, Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy, faced off against Hangman Adam Page. Hangman won, and then he beat up on my client, Orange Cassidy. Then I just saw my clients, the Acclaimed, taking on the Hurt Syndicate. And it looked like Anthony pretty much walked out on his tag team partner. And there's a lot of trouble in paradise, but I really thought they were going to save the split for next week. At least they could give them the win. But I don't know why you have your top tier tag team lose in this uncircumstance. But we shall see what happens tonight, as I'll be talking a lot about that on the post show. But speaking of which, client number 3, we have Jamie Hager. I just want to at least get one win. It's not been a good night. It's not been a good night for me and my clients so far, but I want to at least have Jamie Hager get her win against Julia Hart. But we're doing that, and they're showing footage from Collision Winter is Coming after her match with Willow Nightingale, and we saw the return of Julia Hart. So happy to see the ladies, and it's not even 9:30 yet. So I'm happy to see some of the ladies in action early tonight. So, and here we are with the return of Julia Hart. So you do it. Also, feel free to put in the comments on who do you think should win between Jimmy Hager or Julia Hart. Feel free to put in the comments. Feel free to put in the chats. Whatever you like to do. All right, so we're having the ladies. Let me change my banner for this match between Julia Hart and my newest client, Jamie Hager. I really don't want to go 3 for 3. All right, Swag Kid, you're picking Julia Hart because Julia Hart is good at playing mind games. Jamie Hager's going to come back up. She's going to come back up. Oof. That was a nasty hit Jamie Hager took. So the match is still going on, even though it's in picture-in-picture, but match is still going on. So it looks like Julia has having the offense onto Jamie. So I'm happy the ladies are getting extra time in, and it's not at 9:30, which is great, which is a good thing. And you know what? Since everybody's going on commercial, what better way to kick off the new year than doing it in style? So feel free to check out some merch that we have because we got some in stock. So check it out.
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen not knowing what you want to do like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. Alright? What you waiting for? Head to www.talkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you. Shit.
That is true. Don't make them fight you on getting that merchandise. So feel free to check out some merch that we have on WWT Live. We definitely have a lot of stuff. And also, if you watched last Friday, we had our award show last week, our first ever award show. So feel free to check out the replay because that was definitely a fun one. Always the best way to end 2024. So I would love to do an award show for 2025. So we shall see what superstars will make an impact in 2025. I'm excited. We're going to see how it goes. Also, looking in the match in between picture in picture, it looks like Julia Hart has the upper hand onto Jamie Hager. So hopefully Jamie finds some offense in it. So, but anyways, anyways, Max has been prohibited, I think, from rapping today. They're trying to make Max happy. I'm not really surprised at all, considering Max is under Warner Brothers. I'm not really surprised at that at all, because I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's very shaky, because he had that problem before, but I guess since it's Max, it's kind of like, but hopefully there's not much restraints when he does his freestyles, because it's not the first time he's had controversy in this. But like I said, I will talk a lot more about this in my post show afterwards. But switching gears, we got the ladies in action. My client Jamie Hager against Julia Hart, and it looks like Jamie, my client, is showing some offense. Kick out by Julia. Hi, Eddie Foster. Thank you for joining on this watch along. Happy New Year to you. And yes, we are definitely sending prayers to the victims and families that happened in New Orleans after the tragedy that happened earlier today. We definitely want to send that. And it's always not the way to start off a new year, but definitely want to send thoughts and prayers to everybody, especially on behalf of WWT Live. So thank you for joining. Happy New Year to you. And if you're watching this right now, it's my client Jamie Hager taking on Julia Hart. And this has been a really solid match between these ladies. It looks like Julia Hart's trying to put a submission in. Kick out by Julia. Ooh, that was a nasty fall. Oh, look at Julia. She has that arrow. She has that arrow. Julie, she sprayed mist onto Jamie. And your winner in her first match back, Julia Hart, by spraying Jamie Hayter's eyes. And it has not been a nice night for all three of my clients. It's just like they got nothing to lose. It's just been a not nice day in the office. Damn it. I'm curious on the mist Julia sprayed onto Jamie. Is she going to have the same effect that Sky Blue had after she was missed by Julia Hart? I'm very curious on that. But I think with these two ladies, this is far from over. But congratulations to Julia Hart on her first match back. And also they're showing a promo of Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. So pretty much they're showing like everything from the build-up from Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay from their match when Will Ospreay returned, their match at Full Gear, and then of course when they met in the Continental Classic. It was a very solid rivalry by these two. Thanks, Sean. Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody kicked off the new year in style. And thank you for joining the new year with me, WWT's PR Princess. Everything you need to know about All the Elite. I've been called Madam Elite. I've been called Stone Cold. Whatever you want to call me. Courtney, Miss Courtney is here with all of you. I'm very excited on tonight's Dynamite so far. Not only it's airing live from TBS, but it's also simulcast from Max. So, Aaron coming to you live from North Carolina. We just kicked off with Orange Cassidy, my client Orange Cassidy against Hangman Adam Page. Unfortunately, had Hangman Adam Page won and attacked Cassidy after the match and also attacked Christopher Daniels after the match. Then also my clients, the Acclaimed, took on the Hurt Syndicate, which it was not the match that I expected it to be. And I know there's a lot of internally in the office, but yeah. And, you know, we saw Julia Hart take on my client, Jamie Hager, and with the Black Mist, Julia Hart picked up the victory. So it has not been a good night for all three of my clients, unfortunately. It's been a good show overall, just not a good night for all three of my clients, per se. But I will talk a lot more on that on the post show, which will be on the same link. So just give me time to really process everything and just get through. It'll be a quick post show. It won't be too crazy. Julia Hart would be a great contender for Mercedes Moné or Mariah May. Well, Bobby, that is true, because if you remember, when Julia Hart was TBS champion, Mercedes had a stare down with her. And that match didn't happen. So I could potentially see Julia Hart regaining Julia Hart regaining her TBS title against Mercedes Moné. But first things first, I need to see round 3 with Chris Statlander and Mercedes Moné, because I feel like those two ladies are not done with each other. And outside of Queen Almanada, Chris Statlander was her toughest opponent. And she even said it herself in the media scrum at Full Gear. So we shall see. Toni Storm will have a chance to pick up a win for you. Yes, she will. My client, Toni Storm, she'll be wrestling tomorrow at Ring of Honor. She will be in action tomorrow. But I know Toni's going to be great. She's doing her thing. Let her be her. So it'll be okay. And plus, like, it was a bad day at the office for all 3 of them. But I know they'll bounce back soon, and we shall see. So going back, as I mentioned, they're going to highlight the fallout from World's End that happened this past weekend. And of course, they had to redo the Continental Classic, the match between Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada. That was one of the best matches ever. And also, we saw the return of Kenny Omega. We saw him return to the ring, facing off against his old foe, Kazuchika Okada, giving him the belt. So I know Kenny, he's getting ready for his match this weekend at Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty this weekend. I don't know what Kenny's role is going to be, because I know he's one of the EVPs of AEW, but I'm going to be intrigued on what his role is going to be. But also, a little brief announcement, Kenny Omega will be there on Dynamite next week. He will be there next week. So I don't know what Kenny will be. But, you know, of course, he's out there this week because he's in Japan. But it's nice for him because he'll be done Japan and everything else. And I'm very intrigued on what he's going to do. And also, we're hearing from the Continental Champion, Kazuchika Okada. Oh, I didn't think our TBS champion would show, but here is the reigning TBS champion, Mercedes Moné. I know she is supposed to be, and not supposed to, but she is getting ready for her match this weekend at Wrestle Dynasty against Mina Shirokana, where both of their respective titles will be on the line. So pretty much whoever wins gets to be double champion. I know she's going to have a lot to say about her match this past weekend at World's End against Chris Statlander. I know. I know, Boza. I think because exactly. But Boza, also think about it too, because possibly this is like the first episode of Stream on Max, so they're trying to get as much star power as they can. And of course, obviously, you have to have your TBS champion because she's the face of TBS. But let's see what our TBS champion has to say. So we got to hear from our wonderful TBS champion, Mercedes Moné, because she gets ready for her match against Mina Shirokana this weekend at the Tokyo Dome, because it'll be belt for belt, because it'll be Mina's belt, and Mercedes is putting up the New Japan Strong Women's Championship belt. So we shall see what happens. And you know, it's interesting. If you follow our WWT live, you should know the mayor is Mercedes' client. And nothing against Mercedes. She's a really great athlete, but sometimes you have to be a little bit critical of her during her tenure of AEW. So I have to be very, very precise on that. But I will talk about that in the post show later tonight, because there's a few things I need to address. But the reason why they are in Asheville, North Carolina, is helping out with what happened with Hurricane Helen this past summer. That happened. Also, I love that AEW does a lot of community service all year round, especially for an important cause like this, because this happened in the community where FTR lives, where Adam Copeland lives, and also really happy to see that. And we see Dax from FTR presenting a check on behalf of AEW to one of the people from Asheville, North Carolina. So it's really, really nice that it's an important cause to have. And I love seeing wrestling promotions such as AEW, WWE, TNA, every wrestling promotion give back in any way possible. And we are hearing from Roderick Strong, who has a match, as I mentioned, the Casino three-way match between him, Jay White, and Swerve Strickland. So right up next, we have our three-way Casino Gauntlet match. This is going to be a fun match between Roderick Strong, Jay White, and Swerve Strickland, and whoever wins gets the number one spot in next week's Casino Gauntlet match next week, where the winner receives a shot against Jon Moxley in his hometown. Hold on, because I know they posted on Instagram today, so I won't get fluttered. Yep, Casino Gauntlet matches next week. Winner gets world title shot at Dynamite Maximum Carnage. Yep, Maximum Carnage, which, as I mentioned, 2 weeks from tonight. So we shall see. So, yep, 2 weeks from tonight. But here comes Swerve Strickland, and he has Prince Nana. You're right, Bobby. Anything can happen in 2025. We've seen a lot of wacky stuff happen. So there's going to be a lot of stuff happening, especially in the year of wrestling. There's going to be so much happening in 2025. Who knows what shocking, memorable, heartbreak moments we're going to get in 2025. So, but feel free to check out the post show afterwards of Dynamite, where we're going to go through all the action after tonight's events. Also, I'm going to share a few of my bold predictions that I have for AEW ahead of 2025 because there's a lot. And like I said, I'm very excited for this three-way match. This is definitely going to be a lot of mayhem. But it's definitely going to be a physical match. So, your thoughts on WWE superstar Osmos at Pro Wrestling Noah? Actually, it's so funny you mentioned that because I was just talking about this with the rest of my panel on WWT Live, and we are super excited. I'm just happy to see Osmos back in pro wrestling. Next thing I need for him is to be back on TV because he definitely was suited up to be a monster. And I would love for him to have a role, whether it be on Raw or SmackDown or even NXT. I'm very happy he did getting that opportunity overseas because now I'm seeing a lot of time. I'm now seeing that window is starting to open a little bit for WWE as some of them are wrestling a little bit overseas. We've seen it with AJ Styles. We've seen it with Io Sky. So I'm very happy for Osmos and wish him the best of luck. I know he's going to do great. And just really makes my heart happy to see wrestlers, especially wrestling overseas, whether it be like on the international scale, independent scale, just really creating that opportunity. Exactly, Bobby. It is a nice feeling to have. So thank you for asking me that. So going back to this match, triple threat match, Swerve. Ooh, nice move by Swerve. Swerve versus Jay White versus Roderick Strong. Pretty much whoever wins this match gets the number one spot in the Casino Gauntlet match. So feel free to put your picks on who do you think is going to win, because each person has a strong case to win this match. Each one of them has the momentum to do it. I'm very curious. So feel free to put in the chat on who do you think is going to win. For me, this is really hard because as I mentioned, all three have very strong cases. Very, very strong. Of course, like Swerve being a former AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Roderick Strong being a former AEW International Champion. And then, of course, you have Jay White. He's definitely the catalyst. Definitely shown up as being Switchblade. I would have gone with Swerve, but I think I'm going to go with Jay White. I feel like for Jay White, this would really be an opportunity for him to get that number one spot. Plus, he still has a beef to settle with John. Well, him and a lot of other people have a beef settled with Jon Moxley. So I think it would be nice for Jay White to get the number one spot because, as I mentioned, both Swerve and Roderick Strong held AEW gold, singles gold, respectively, with the World Heavyweight Championship and International Championship. So it would be nice to see Jay White get that momentous opportunity on getting number one seed. So I'm going with Jay White. Whose house? Oh, Eddie, we see who he's going with. Swerve Strickland. Yesterday, Bryce Donovan was in NXT crowd yesterday. They showed him on the camera. Thank you, Bobby, for that. That is really exciting for Bryce Donovan. So if you do not know, a little to strike back a bit, but even though it's going in picture and the match is still going on, so Roderick Strong is getting the upper hand. But Bobby, going back to your point regarding Bryce Donovan. So I actually started following Bryce a little over a couple months ago because he actually went to Creative Pro in New York, which is the same wrestling school MJF, Chris Statlander, Max Caster, along with many others, went to the wrestling school. And it's so ironic because Bryce, Max, and Bobby did a stable called the Shook Crew. And it was really nice to see them have that stable because they've been around the independents in Creative Pro for a while. Also, even after when Max got signed in the AEW, he still has that bond. So I'm really excited that they are all doing a lot of great things. Like, of course, Bryce is definitely going to be doing well in WWE ID. Of course, Max Caster, he's doing well in All Elite Wrestling with AEW. And of course, the other one, Bobby Orlando, he's the new Creative Pro champion, but he's also wrestling in the independent scene. And who knows, he may pop up on WWE ID in the near future. So it's only in time will tell. I'm very, very proud of Bryce, especially not just Bryce, but all of the prospects for WWE ID. And I'm very excited on what the future holds for them because the future is looking bright for them and can't wait to see them. Who knows? They possibly may be on a future television opportunity for WWE. So, yeah, this week's NXT was pre-tape. Was the first time WWE ID was shown on TV. I'm really happy that they are letting like the WWE ID talent show up to shows like this. I hope not just NXT. I would love for them to appear on like a Raw or SmackDown show in 2025 just to get a feel for it being on the main roster. That would be crazy. And Bobby, like you said, I'm happy Bryce got it too because I've been following him the last couple months and he definitely put the work in. All of the Shit crew has between like Bobby and Bryce, and of course Max doing successfully in AEW. So it just makes me happy to see them do very well. But we are on the final hour of AEW Dynamite. The first live Dynamite of 2025. I mean, where has the time gone? Where has the time gone? Oh man. So definitely in hour number 2. And we are back live with a 3-way casino gauntlet match between Swerve Strickland, Roderick Strong, and Jay White. So all 3 of these guys definitely have strong cases on getting that number 1 seed. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, I would love for Swerve to win, but I'm picking Jay White to get this opportunity. Of course, Prince Nana trying to hype up the crowd a bit in honor of Swerve. So let's see. Swerve trying to get some momentum here. I'm interested to see if Ricochet is going to be on AEW Dynamite tonight. Yeah, after that humiliation this past week, it'll be interesting to see Dynamite. But if he's not on Dynamite, he may show up on Collision because Collision is going to be live. So I would not be shocked if he did show up on Collision to address it. So only time will tell and we shall see. But yeah, that was like the ultimate humiliation for Ricochet. But this is also going to help them with the development of his character on being a heel. And it's going to show, hopefully it shows a little bit of growth that he develops. But we'll talk about that in the post show later on. But going back to this match, it looks like Roderick Strong's trying to get the upper hand onto Jay White. 1, 2, kick out by Jay White. Okay. Oh, here comes Jay White. Swerve. Swerve, what's he thinking? Another kick. Oh, wait a minute. He hit him in the head with scissors. You could have at least find something, because that's the Acclaimed spiel is scissors. He could have at least found something or a glass, damn it. Or better yet, he could have at least put a thread on Prince Nana. But Ricochet and Bobby, you kind of did call that on that one because you were interested to see if Ricochet was going to do it. 3, and your winner is Jay White, Switchblade Jay White, which means he has the number one in the Casino Gauntlet match next week. He is number 1, folks. He's number 1. He's number 1. He's number 1. Yes, you are, Bobby. You're having a great day so far. You're making all these predictions. You made a prediction Kenny Omega was going to possibly be there at World's End this past week, and now Ricochet. And Ricochet, oh man. Swerve is bloodied. He's just hovering. Well, look at Nana. See, Nana should have hit him with a chair. You're threatening him with scissors? You could have at least got like a barbed wire or something. He hit him with scissors. I mean, he's gonna use another weapon other than scissors, damn it. But I am liking this aggressive side from Ricochet. Starting to show a little bit. Oh, he shoved Prince Nana. Oh, he hit Prince Nana. Ricochet is a big baby that he had all success at All In and AEW. I can't believe they're getting away with this with TBS. And now, Boza, and honestly, let me put this in there. They wouldn't let Max Caster rap tonight, but they will let Ricochet destroy Swerve in a bloody mess. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't even know. It's like you won't let Caster freestyle, but it's like, I don't even know. I don't know. But yeah, it's like he really bloodied him. Oof, he took out and bloodied Swerve Strickland. Oh, and here comes the Undisputed Kingdom. The Undisputed Kingdom are coming out. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong. Well, it's nice that the Undisputed Kingdom at least is checking on Swerve. I do commend him for that, the Undisputed Kingdom. Well, not checking on Swerve, but I know, not checking on Swerve, but I know Roderick is not really happy with Ricochet interfering. So it's going to be interesting how this is going to fly. But we do see the Undisputed Kingdom checking in on Swerve Strickland to see if he's okay. So I'm happy Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roddy are checking in because, he just bloodied. And then shoved his Nana. Woo! There's going to be a lot. Because Swerve lost a lot of blood. He lost a lot. Well, that was really interesting to see. But we're going to take a quick break after that. And feel free to check out one of our sponsors, All Caribbean Wrestling.
This episode of Women's Wrestling Talk has been brought to you by All Caribbean Wrestling. Catch the wave. Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views or go on the YouTube page at All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, go and check out their socials on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling and on X at All Caribbean WR1.
So, just a quick one and do it. I don't get it either. That's why I'm surprised. That's all. I'm not pissed. It feels like his rap when he was sort of supposed that. Well, that too. But it's also interesting to see because normally, because I remember at one point he had to get his raps approved because there was like a situation that happened when he got suspended the first time around. He had to get them approved. But I think they stopped doing it for a while. But it's really weird that they're now starting to do it now. It's like, you let Ricochet bloody Swerve with scissors, but you won't let Max Caster rap. And especially towards the Hurt Syndicate tonight, because I thought at least he would have put out a diss. I don't know. It just seems very odd in a way. But we will talk about that in the post show because there is a lot. There is a lot I need to say on this. But going back that your winner in the 3-way Casino Gauntlet match is Jay White. He has the number 1 spot in next week's Casino Gauntlet match. We saw Ricochet come in and just beat the crap out of Swerve Strickland, hit Prince Nana with the steel chair, and before Ricochet could do any damage, we saw members of the Undisputed Kingdom, not just Roderick Strong, but Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly come out to check on Swerve because he was a little bit of a bloody mess. But we shall see. But so far, it's almost 9:30. So we pretty much have one more match to go, and that is our main event, which I'm very surprised, but I guess because they want to impress Max since it is streaming on there tonight. But I don't know, we shall see. But we have one more match, which is our main event. Of course, we still have to hear from Jeff Jarrett because he will be talking about his future within professional wrestling. But we shall see. Could we see a free agent in Casino Gauntlet match? I could see a free agent. I would not be shocked because in the Casino Gauntlet match, anything can happen. So, Bobby, going to your point, I would not be shocked if we did see a free agent. Maybe, if it's cards right, Matt Cardona, because he did have a good showing for the Ring of Honor World Championship match. So we could see possibly a Matt Cardona. You could see Nigel McGuinness return to the ring. And as I mentioned, we have like Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt. So we'll see what Jeff Jarrett has to say. Well, we got to hear from our AEW Women's Champion, Mariah May, and she's putting a call out to every single female in that locker room. Also, feel free to put in the chat who do you think should challenge Mariah May for the AEW Women's World Championship? Because there are a few ladies that have not faced Mariah May yet. So, and also, we do have an event next month in Australia. There is a particular lady that is waiting and waiting. So, I'm just saying. But we are going to hear from Jeff Jarrett, and he's going to address his future right now. Big words from Jeff Jarrett. Oh, hi, Dion. Thank you for stopping by on this first watch along 2025. Hi, honey. I'm happy you came from work. Happy New Year. Happy all of you. Yeah, you missed a lot. So, if you are tuning in, this is the first live Dynamite of 2025. And it's airing not just on TBS, but simulcast from Max. We kicked off with my client, OC Orange Cassidy, taking on Hangman Adam Page. Hangman won and attacked my boy Orange Cassidy, along with attacking Christopher Daniels. I got to see my other clients, the Acclaimed, take on the Hurt Syndicate, and the Hurt Syndicate beat the Acclaimed. Jamie Hager, she was one-on-one with Julia Hart, and Jamie Hager won. Jamie Hager lost, so it has not been a good day in the office with my clients. But speaking of which, we hear from Hook. So 2 weeks from tonight in Cincinnati, Ohio, Cook is looking to get his hands on Christian Cage. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to go. Yeah, it was definitely not a night for three of my clients. It definitely was not. It definitely was not the best night for mine, but I will be talking about that in the post show after this. It's going to be on the same link, so do not go anywhere because there is a lot of follow on this. And we get to see Power. And also, speaking of which, Powerhouse Hobbs, he's back. It's always a good treat seeing Powerhouse Hobbs. He definitely delivered a good, solid performance against Konosuke Takeshita for the AEW International Championship. I'm pretty sure he still isn't. Unfortunately, he is still has a feud with the Don Callis family. Yes, honey. Oh my goodness. There's just so much happening before January 6th, of course. And yes, Dion, they are streaming on Max, so feel free to check it out. I mean, tonight, first live Dynamite on TBS and Max. The first Friday night SmackDown of 2025. The first TNA of 2025 tomorrow. You got Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty this weekend. And then, of course, you have Raw on Netflix. There's just a lot in the next couple days. And I don't know how any of us are going to recover from all this because there's just so much wrestling happening. But it's a good thing. It is a good thing. And yes, Eddie Foster, it's always nice to see Mr. Powerhouse Hobbs back in the ring. And yes, Bobby, NXT New Year's Evil as well, the day after Raw on Netflix. And it looks like, I think the councilman and the mayor trying, because I think they're gonna try to see if they can go to both shows next week on Raw and New Year's Evil. Oh, excuse me, since it's in LA. And that would be really cool. But I wasn't paying attention to the squash match. But your winner of the match was Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse, he picked up the win. I just would love to see gold on him this week. And of course, we get to listen to Big Bill and Brian Keith from the Learning Tree. Hey, look, I don't care what anybody says about the Liturgy. It's really low key, very funny because it has some moments. And plus, you can say whatever you want about Chris Jericho, but this is probably the most screen time I've seen of Big Bill and Brian Keith throughout, even from last year. This is like the most screen time they've had with Chris Jericho. So you cannot deny him on that. But this Saturday on Collision, Adam Copeland threw the challenge. Rated FTR against the Learning Tree. We'll see what happens. And also, it's the first Collision of and also it is the first Collision of 2025, and it will be airing not just on TNT, but it will simulcast on Max. So just a friendly reminder there, folks. They wouldn't be on TV if it wasn't for the Learning Tree. Yeah, you gotta agree with it, right or wrong. I mean, even if you don't like the Learning Tree, you kind of have to give Chris Jericho a lot of credit with this because they're getting a lot of screen time out of this. So you can't really put out the basics, and there's so much logic in it. Yes. Hi, Mackenzie Johnson. Thank you for joining on this watch along. And yes, Powerhouse Hobbs needs a championship belt in 2025. I do agree. I'm catching up on NXT right now. I'm relying on Courtney for AEW updates. I know. I haven't watched NXT yet. I actually DVR'd it last night, but I plan on watching NXT tomorrow because I know there's a lot happening because New Year's Evil is next week. It's next week. So many big matches. Trick Williams, Obafemi for the NXT Championship. Roxanne Perez taking on Julia for the NXT Women's Championship. And so much has happened. I figured out that all I have to do is hold WWT hostage and demand wrestling tickets. Will it said on the Learning Tree. And that is kind of true. That is very, very true. That's very true. Yeah, hold a WWT live hostage. Actually, Dion, a little fact. I actually, well, I didn't use the tactic councilman and the mayor did. I actually sent a direct message to, Boss Lady asking me in regards to Full Gear if I could attend and be a part of the media scrum. And I sent her message like detailing it, and we were able to make that happen. So I sent her a direct message off screen because that's why I did it. But I'm also waiting to see like what pay-per-views in AEW will be in the East Coast, because I know they already have some lined up, like Revolution is going to be in LA, All In is going to be in Texas, Forbidden Door is going to be in London. So, oh, and of course, we can't forget about MJF. So let's hear what he has to say. Well, looks like MJF wants to reclaim his Triple B, which is his World Heavyweight Championship. So Moxley doesn't realize he has a bigger target on his back for that title. I mean, you have people like Jay White, OC, Hangman, as I mentioned, MJF. Also, we heard from Jeff Jarrett, where he did sign his final deal as being a wrestling performer, and he is going to enter himself in the Gauntlet match next week. So he's going to take the final sunset onto the Rise. So it is. I thought so too, Boza. I thought so too, but they did trick us. So we'll talk about that in the post show because it'll be on the same link. The post show will be on the same link after this. So feel free to do that. Mox needs the Deathlighters. They don't need him. They're the reason he survived Saturday. It is kind of true in a way. It is very true. And they're also showing the promo for Wrestle Dynasty as Claudio Castagnoli. Claudio definitely has a match at Wrestle Dynasty this weekend. He has a match. I know Willow is going to be participating in the International Women's Cup. Of course, we have Mercedes Moné taking on Mina Shirokana, title for title. We're also going to see Brody King wrestling in Japan for the first time. And also the AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita, because he's going for another set of gold too. So a lot of representation from AEW over in the Rising Sun, and that is so awesome. And now it is main event time, and here comes Rated FTR. The hometown kids. They are the hometown boys, so gotta show respect to these guys. Gotta show respect. And here comes Adam Copeland in his first match on Dynamite since he came back after having that gruesome injury at Double or Nothing last year. Also, Tay Mela returned to the ring to debut at Stardom. Yeah, so we got some busy. So yes, Tay will be back. She will finally be back in the ring wrestling. So very excited to see her back because she's been a new mommy. She has been training. I follow her on social, so she's been doing well with her husband Sammy Guevara. I'm very happy to see her back in the ring. I would love to see her and Anna Jay team up as a tag team again. But it makes me happy to see some AEW stars, especially if they've never been to Japan, to actually just go overseas and just wrestle. And also just learn the fundamentals about it, explore the culture. And as I mentioned, some of them have never wrestled in Japan. Like Brody King has never been in Japan, and he can check that off his bucket list on wrestling. So, and also there's a few stars I would love to see wrestle in Japan. Of course, I would love to see my clients, the Acclaimed, wrestle in Japan. That would be so cool for them to do. Yeah, I subscribe to Sammy's YouTube. He and Tay are so they are very hilarious and so proud of them. But folks, this is main event time. AEW World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli taking on Rated FTR. That's interesting. We have to call Adam Copeland just Cope now. Oh, thank you for pointing that out because I didn't even realize it because I had my headphones in. But thanks for pointing that out. And it's going to feel interesting because we got to call him Cope instead of Copeland. Interesting. Yeah, Bobby, I definitely want to root for Rated FTR because considering they're in North Carolina, this is their hometown. You can't have them lose in their hometown. And also in this match, you also have Marina Shafir looking on in the ring, outside the ring. I know it's not supposed to be funny, but Jay White gave her what was coming this past weekend. So it was pretty interesting to see. But yeah, Marina Shafir is a feisty little one to watch for in the ring. But I will give you a little drop it on my bold predictions. I think she is going to have a match with Willow Nightingale in 2025. And it will happen after she comes back from Japan and everything else because they are bound to have a match. I don't know when that's going to happen. I know Boza exactly. She's lucky that Willow is already in Japan. She's lucky because, of course, she would support her friend, my client, Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy. But I do believe when she comes back from Japan and she's well rested, she's definitely going to have a match with her. Now, when is that going to happen? I don't know because, you have January, you have that whole month of February. Also, in February, it's Grand Slam in Australia because their first pay-per-view of 2025 is not till March for Revolution. So I do expect them having a match before Revolution. It's going to be possibly a rivalry. I'm ready for it because that's another bold prediction of mine. I would like to see a lot of their women's division expand into multiple storylines that feature more than just the AEW women's title and also the TBS championship because I feel like there's so many storylines they can bounce off on. And I believe 2025 is the year the entire women's division is going to show up. Will we see Kyle Fletcher in Casino match at Casino? Oh, yeah. Oh, Marina Shafir just pushed Adam Cope into the barricade. See, she's lucky not only Willow was in Japan, she's also lucky Beth Phoenix wasn't there. And I know Beth has been doing other things, but I'm trying to imagine Beth being there and especially supporting her husband. And look at Dax. I'm sorry. I was laughing at Dax because Marina's trying to be intimidating to Dax and he kicked the briefcase. The one thing, hey, look, I got nothing but respect for FTR. I will say they never backed down from a fight, and it was kind of hilarious on what that happened, but but yeah, you're go right Posa. She's lucky. Marina's lucky. Willow wasn't there. She's also lucky Beth wasn't there. But just waiting on how Grand Slam will be available to watch. Yeah, that's gonna be really interesting on how they're gonna do it, because I know the time zone with Australia and the US is gonna be a little bit weird, but hopefully I'm hoping we should get at least more information about it soon, because it is fastly approaching Grand Slam in Australia. So we shall see. But even though the match is going in picture, the match is still going on live. And it looks like Moxley is getting the upper hand on Copeland, especially after what Marina Shafir did on the outside. Of course, she always wants to stick her nose where it doesn't belong, but who am I to say? I always enjoy your AEW watch-alongs. Thank you, Bobby. I do appreciate that. I will say, even since I started doing these watch-alongs, I didn't think it was gonna, I wouldn't say blow up that big, but I didn't realize a lot more people were gonna watch a lot more AEW since I started doing them. But it made me happy to see some of them are starting to watch it a lot more and enjoy my watch-alongs, which I try to be analytical with things. And of course, you always see me root for some of my favorite superstars and try to at least bring some logic into this, because I know a lot of people have said a lot of harshly and not so constructive feedback on the product, but I try to make sure everything is neutral. And sometimes it's like you kind of have to stand your ground, because they do have some goodness in their product. It's just kind of figuring out their niche, who's their demographic, what audience they're trying to obtain, and also with this opportunity for Max, we shall see what happens. I'm ready for the future, and I think with this deal that they have with Warner Brothers and streaming on Max, it really is going to help them get into the mainstream, which, interesting enough, it kind of slowly is, considering Tony Khan is part of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he talked about AEW whenever he was on the Rich Eisen show or if he was on NFL Network, so that kind of helps out in a way. I just liked your video on YouTube, and now you got 13 likes on YouTube. Aw, thank you. I didn't realize I had that many likes on YouTube, honestly. I really didn't. But thank you for joining my watch along. It has been very, very fun on the first live Dynamite of 2025. Where has a cock club? This is the big plus for AEW. It will allow for new fans to discover AEW that haven't before. Exactly. And they can also see some of the archive that they've seen from when it started in 2019 up until now. And it's an ongoing process that they're going to start adding a lot more content. And I think I may watch some of their first pay-per-views in 2019, because I did hear some of them were really good when they first started. So I may watch some of their pay-per-views when it comes, since it's now starting to come on Max. I just have to figure out a day to do it. But anyways, back to the main event. We see Cash Wheeler and Wheeler Yuta in the ring. Cash in action. And remember, theme is Fight for the Fallen, and this is from Asheville, North Carolina, hometown of rated FTR. And they're also raising support of Hurricane Helen that happened this past late summer. Raising awareness, and I do love it that they are giving back in any way they can. And what better way to start off the new year than showing support to the people that suffered through the hurricanes, and especially in the community that FTR lives in, along with Adam Copeland, who have done their part. So it gives me happy, and kudos to them for doing their part as well, and definitely making a difference, not just in the ring, but also outside the ring as well. But going back to this, here's Dax. And exactly, that is also a plus to having the first responders at the show. Huge, 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 huge to have. But going back to this match, also a little note, Collision, as I mentioned, returns this Saturday. It'll not be airing not just on TNT, but also simulcast on Max. We also have the AEW Tag Team Champions Private Party taking on Action Andretti and Leo Rush. And it's been official. The Learning Tree taking on Rated FTR in trios action. Daniel Garcia taking on Mark Briscoe for the TNT Championship. And I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot more matches in the coming days for Collision. But those are the matches announced so far. Oh, and also one more match that did not get included in the picture, but my client Toni Storm taking on Deonna Purrazzo this Saturday on Collision. So it's definitely going to be fun. Always love to see Toni in action. Ooh, Claudio threw out Cash. It's Claudio and Dax. Moxley. And Moxley, I think he's irate and he has a chair, and we're going to do another picture-in-picture. Even though it's a picture-in-picture, the match is live. They didn't show it, but Rockstar Toni Storm hopes to continue momentum on Saturday. Yep, Boza, as I mentioned earlier, my client Toni Storm taking on Deonna Purrazzo this Saturday on Collision. So I am very happy to see that. And a lot more matches. I mean, we know next week is a casino gauntlet match. The winner gets a shot against Jon Moxley 2 weeks from tonight. We know Jay White has the number one pick. He's coming in number one in the gauntlet match, so we shall see on that. But also feel free, as I mentioned, a little reminder earlier, there is going to be a post show. It's going to be on the same link, so do not go anywhere because we'll be going down the action that happened tonight, the play-by-play analyst, your thoughts, my thoughts, what's going to happen here, what to expect for AEW in 2025. So you do not want to miss it. Looking at this match from picture-in-picture, it's going to be Moxley and Dax going at it one-on-one, and it looks like Moxley has the upper hand here. Ooh, and Moxley looks like he's going on the backside of Dax. That actually is possibly the same spot that he got hurt earlier last year, especially during the Anarchy in the Arena match. So looking at this match, it's still going in picture-in-picture. And this will be the final picture-in-picture. And of course, Boza, I know you mentioned you're watching this on Max, but I'm curious, is it still going on? Because I think it said it was up until 10. So, Boza, or if anybody else that is streaming on Max, let me know if there's a cutoff. Because I know I'm watching it on TBS Live. And of course, overrun, which I'm not surprised on, but it's 10 o'clock. Still got our main event. Trios action. You got the Death Riders, AEW World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta taking on Rated FTR. And it looks like Claudio's taking out both FTR. Well, not FTR, but Cash and Adam Copeland. Tag is made to Copeland and tag is made to Moxley. And they're just having a stare down with each other. And it looks like Adam has the upper hand. Moxley does. It's just like a one-on-one. I'm going to say it. It's an execution. That's what made me think of. I know he's not Edge anymore, but that move made me think of execution. And he has that stare. He's about to do his spear, but Moxley ran outside the ring. And Moxley and Adam are going outside the ring. They're just beating the crap out of each other outside the ring. And then, of course, Marina Shafir is close by. Moxley trying to show up her hand. Back in the ring. Wheeler Yuta's trying to take out Adam. DDT. To kick out by Yuta. Oof. That has to hurt. Dax. Oh God, not Dax. Cash. Cash. Ooh. Nasty uppercut by Claudio onto Cash. Here comes Dax. Ooh. Nasty clothesline to Dax. All three members of Rated FTR are out cold outside the ring. And it looks like they have the announcer's table. Did Moxley just give a smooch to Tony Schiavone? Oh God. Oh, look at this. Jay White. He took out Wheeler Yuta and he made sure that he was going to pay. And Claudio's chasing after Jay White. Jay White. Spear onto Moxley through the barricade. Uppercut by Claudio. There's Cash and Dax. Their finisher. Spear. This has to be it. 2. And your winners. Rated FTR picked up a huge win over Wheeler Yuta. And by the way, the Death Riders not only have the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, but they're also the Trios champions. And do you think they should be in line for a future opportunity for those Trios belts? That's a question, because no disrespect to Top Flight Action Andretti along with the Dark Order, but I know when they tried to do the storyline, they try to at least like kind of encourage some of the young stars on the rise, but really also knowing to get the fans behind them organically, that's always hard to do, kind of take that next step. So I think with Rated FTR, it's possibly seeing them as much of a bigger threat since of the status, and also, you know, with FTR being former tag team champions, Adam Copeland at his best, really thinking about having that. So it's really nice to see. And also, it looks like Dynamite is ended, wrapped up a bit with, of course, FTR and Adam Copeland showing love to the victims of the Hurricane hurricane. Also, we did see in a little bit that Kenny Omega is returning next week, so that's really awesome too. So it's been a very yes, Bobby, Adam Copeland is a former TNT champion as well. So that is just really fun. And that wraps up the first live Dynamite of 2025. So there's a lot. And do not go anywhere, because this is the same link we're going to use for the post show. But before we even jump into that, feel free to check out some merch, because we got some cool merch happening. And we also have one of our sponsors, All Caribbean Wrestling. So feel free to check it out before we head into the post show.
Hey, yo, you. Yeah, you that's watching this. You sitting on the couch staring at the screen not knowing what you want to do, like this is an online college. Are you tired of wearing shirts that make you look like an extra stuck in catering? Do you want to step your wrestling swag game up to the next level? Then Women's Wrestling Talk has got you covered. Like literally. Are you for life in pink or black and white? Or maybe you're the EST and people need to respect you accordingly. Want to put some pride in your stride and show off the muscle in your hustle? Then make sure you check out the WWT store. Not now, but right now. Alright? What you waiting for? Head to www.talkpodstore.com and don't make me fight you. Shit.
This episode of Women's Wrestling Talk has been brought to you by All Caribbean Wrestling. Catch the wave. Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views, or go on the YouTube page at All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, go and check out their socials on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling and on X at All Caribbean WR1.
Okay, so we just had a quick break and we switched over to post show, where we talk about everything that's been happening on tonight's live Dynamite of 2025, airing not just on TBS, but also simulcast from Max from Asheville, North Carolina. Fight for the Fallen, January 1st. And I love that they had an intro. I'm so excited in that. And we kicked off Dynamite with my client, Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy, taking on Hangman Adam Page. What a way to kick off the show with two of your top tier stars within AEW. They've been there from the beginning. This is the first time that they're meeting with each other. So what better way to kick off 2025? They both delivered a solid match, the two of them. Orange Cassidy, he's still feeling the effects of World's End that happened in the Fatal 4-Way match. And he said he was going to start with Hangman Adam Page. And both of them, it was a slugfest between the two of them. But unfortunately, Hangman Adam Page picked up the win. And after that, he just beat the crap out of my client. And soon enough, Christopher Daniels had to stop in. And then he started beating up on Christopher Daniels. So I don't know what's going on that they're trying to do with him and Christopher Daniels. Because I know Daniels are trying to be at least some sort of an ally to Hangman. But let's just be realistic. Hangman is a little bit unhinged a bit. But a specific reason. Because after Swerve intruded his home. And then he had this whole mindset on trying to get revenge on Swerve, what he tried to do, because sometimes revenge, when you focus too much on revenge, it does seem to be a little bit stray. So I don't know what's going to happen with Hangman and Christopher Daniels. I don't know where my client OC is going to be, but you know what? He's going to show up every week. He did say he will stop at nothing. As long as Jon Moxley's champion, he is going to be there. And also, I would not be shocked if the two of them were involved in next week's Casino Gauntlet match. I believe they'll be a part of it. I don't know who's going to win it, but I do believe them two are going to be in it. Possibly Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay, many other people. Who knows? We may see a free agent pop up. I would not be shocked if Matt Cardona even joined in the Casino Gauntlet, or even Nigel McGuinness. So there's a lot of layers to this, but not so great day at the office for my client, but but I could see that happening. I mean, my client OC, he didn't have a good work day at the office, but he's going to figure it out. He still has a lot to plan out, and we'll see what happens next week, but still love Freshly Squeezed. He's doing his thing, and I love him for that. Max is so screwed in with that Casino Gauntlet next week. I would think all 21 names want to throw his behind. I could see him sending the Death Riders to make sure this doesn't happen. Yeah, it's a possibility, because I'm going to tell you something. They're trying to take out every person in AEW. Now, as I mentioned, I would not be shocked if there was more people that were aligning with the Death Riders. Because even though they're heels, there is a possibility, because we don't even know who's working for them. And also, how does Kenny Omega fit into all this next week? Because it'll be his first time back since seeing him last summer. Actually, last spring, we saw him. So I don't even know where this is going to go, because Moxley has a bigger target on his back. But we'll talk about that later on. But my boy OC, not a day at the office for him, but he'll be fine. I'm not really worried about it. Now, this match featured another thing of my clients. The Acclaimed taking on the Hurt Syndicate. Now, when I saw this on paper, I thought, okay, Lashley and Benjamin are taking on the winningest tag team in AEW. Former tag team champions, AEW Trio champions. I'm like, okay, I can see them going back and forth a little bit, but it was not what I expected to be. And personally, for me, this is my reaction to everything that happened.
Bullshit.
Pretty much that was my initial reaction, because I know Caster and Bowens, they have a lot of friction with each other. But they should have at least get it out, because if you saw Rampage last week, Bowens was going one-on-one with Chris Jericho last week. It was a non-title for the Ring of Honor Championship match. Caster tried to help out with the Bad Apple, but he was going tug of war with the Bad Apple, and he accidentally hit Anthony with the belt, and Chris Jericho ended up winning. So it was a little bit weird because considering Max didn't freestyle in his entrance, which I'm very surprised because he would really put a diss out on everybody, but he didn't put a diss on the Hurt Syndicate. I mean, I understand it's like your first one on Max, but having one of your top tier tag teams, your winningest tag team, in that match and have them lose against the Hurt Syndicate, first of all, my clients do not treat that. And also, that match could have been longer. And I didn't listen to MVP's commentary, but it's like, and I know Anthony and Max have squabbles with each other. And of course, there was miscommunication of them tagging with each other. And then Anthony supposedly walked out on that match. So this is going to be really interesting to see because it's like, I don't want to say the Acclaimed was buried, but why would you have your top tier tag team, your former tag team champions, and also one of the most decorated tag teams who were still over with their fans? The fans still love them, and so over. Like, I'm not going to say, but I would say Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy level fans. So I don't even know. And plus, I was really upset because they're my clients, they're my boys. I know there's a lot of friction with them. I don't even know what's going to happen with this because I thought at least, but I'm happy. And I said this for the last 2 months. I just don't think Caster should join the Hurt Syndicate, considering MVP only wanted him because of his dad. And if you don't know who his dad is, and that's where my football stuff comes into play, Max Caster's father played in the NFL, Rich Caster. He was a tight end for the New York Jets, played there for like at least 7, 8 seasons. And he went to Washington. He ended up getting a Super Bowl. And MVP just had this constant notion of bringing up his dad every time they counted the Acclaim. So, yeah, I was a little disappointed because I did not expect for it to be a squash match. I thought at least they would show some physical, because why would you give a squash match to your top tier tag team? And yes, I am going on a rant because they're my clients and I got to represent them. And I don't like to see my boys doing that. So, I just hope they do it right between Caster and Bowens. I know, as I mentioned, they probably talked about this on screen on doing singles matches with each other, which I'm okay. I'm okay with that because I will still support them in their singles run. They both would be amazing doing singles run as well. But, you know, tag teams break up. They break up. They have a beef with each other. They have a feud with each other. And then sooner or later, they make up. And they go on this wonderful run to get to claim tag team belts. So I feel like it's not the end all be all for the Acclaimed. But this is going to be interesting because Billy Gunn has not been there the last 2-3 weeks. So sooner or later, he's going to have to show up next week to really kind of settle all this, because there is a lot of layers to this. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm okay with them splitting because, as I mentioned, tag teams split up. Tag teams do split up. I just hope that Max and Warner Brothers don't restrict Caster with his freestyles, because that's something I will talk about later. But I still support my boys no matter what. I think they're going to be fine. Like I said, they probably talked about this off screen on having singles runs separately. But, you know, I don't think it's the end all be all, because the Acclaim will reunite once they settle all this. But I think this will be a really good thing for them. I know that it's going to drive a lot. I was really disappointed in that match in particular, because I feel like for them, I'm sorry, it's nothing against the Hurt Syndicate, but it's like, why would you give a squash match to your top tier tag team, your winningest tag team in AEW? I just don't get it. So anyway, that's my rant because I was not very happy about that match. But anyways, I'm moving on to my other client, Jamie Hager. She took on Julia Hart. And I will say, these two definitely delivered a solid match. It's really nice, and it should be one of the highlights on the women's division. I would love to really... Yes, Boza, I had to rant that because they're my boys, and I was a little bit pissy about that because they deserve so much better. They deserve a lot more better. And I understand they're trying to shift away from FTR and, of course, the Acclaim from the tag team titles because they don't need the belts to stay relevant. They really have the drive to really not just get over with the fans, but they have the success and back it up. So, yeah, I was very, very upset. But like I said, it was definitely a great match between Jamie Hager and Julia Hart. I feel like these two ladies really showed up great. Of course, with the signature black miss, Julia gave to Jamie Hager. Julia Hart ended up winning. Has not been a good night for all three of my clients. Has not been a good night. But you know what? They're going to bounce back. We'll see what they can do because I believe all three of them will figure out something. And also, I'm very curious because when Julia Hart did the black mist onto Sky Blue, her whole persona changed. So I'm curious on how they're going to deal with Jamie Hager after she got missed. So that's another thing to do. But yes, Mercedes should be aware of Julia because they almost would have faced each other. If Julia did not face Willow Nightingale, those two could have a match. So I would be very, very, very mindful of Julia. She's a former TBS champion, and she's no slouch either. So I'm very proud of the two ladies in there. Of course, we got to see promos from Jay White, Roderick Strong, and Swerve Strickland ahead of their match for the Casino three-way match for the Casino Royale next week, where whoever wins gets a number one spot. So it's definitely something to really think about, but I'll get to that match in a little bit. I'm trying to think. We had this. We had this. Also, we got to hear from our TBS champion, Mercedes Moné, where she did highlight her year 2024. She did make the Sports Illustrated Best Women's List of 2024 3 times, as she should, because she is definitely an athlete. I can't take away her athleticism. Can't take away her talent. Can't take away her athleticism. She's great. She's great in the ring, and I have so much respect for her. But, she is getting ready for her match this weekend against Mina Shirokana at Wrestle Dynasty, where it's title for title. She's going to go up against Mina, so they're both going title for title. Mercedes is putting up her New Japan Strong Women's Champion. Mina's going to put up her title. I'm going to say this because Councilman made a point about this a couple weeks ago on WWT Live. And I do sort of agree with it on this. Mercedes says she was here. And I also made this point out last week. Mercedes says AEW has the best women's division. She's here to help innovate and change. If she is by her word, she has to put over Mina. She cannot make Mina lose this weekend. If she really, really stands by her word, she cannot afford to have Mina lose this weekend. Because very rarely Mina has lost a few matches last year. And also another thing is with Mercedes, she should have no excuse considering she has something that many people on the women's roster don't have. And that is she has creative control. she has creative control. And I think one loss is not going to kill her. It's not going to defy who she is. Sooner or later, she's going to have to get a slice of humble pie. She can afford to lose one match. And if she says that, I've seen her main event New Japan Wrestling. I would love for her to main event a Dynamite. I don't care how many Dynamites she has to do. If she can get at least no more than 3-4 main events on Dynamite, that's a win. And also a bold prediction. 2 bold predictions that I have this year. A big goal for me because not just women's wrestling, but I'm also a huge fan when it comes to tag team wrestling. I would love to see a women's match main event, a pay-per-view, an AEW pay-per-view this year. That would be a big goal of mine. Most specifically, I would love to see the AEW Women's Championship main event, a pay-per-view. Because no disrespect to the TBS Championship, but the AEW Women's Champion should be a higher prestige title within the women's division. And I would love to see that, considering AEW is already in year number 6. And also another big goal for me is seeing the tag team titles defended on that main event spot in a big, pay-per-view. I mean, we've seen it a few times on like Dynamite and Collision, but I would love for them to main event a pay-per-view. And it's just execution and just getting all your ducks in a row. So she can afford to lose at least one match. I will be pissed if she wins the Rev Pro Women's Championship. That means she will be a major pain in the butt. Well, that is true, but also at the same time, she should have no excuse. She has creative control, which not many people in the roster of AEW have. And also, I know people think of her solely as a game changer, but she can't do it alone. And this is where we have seen a lot of women in the division. And I hate to say this, some of them have been getting, I don't want to say a lot of them have been getting a lot of airtime due to her, because some of them have been getting their fair share of airtime, but it's just storyline purposes. And also, I would not be shocked if there was a round 3 between Chris Statlander and Mercedes Moné, because I feel like Chris Statlander has something not to prove, but I feel like there is a lot more to handle with her and Mercedes. And I feel like for this third match, this is going to be probably the most physical match. And will be all in on it. So we shall see. Mercedes, she's getting ready for her match this weekend, and she has put on notice. So let her enjoy the time of her life. Let her be free. But sooner or later, she's going to have one loss this year. I think one loss is not going to kill her. But anyways, shifting gears onto the Casino 3-way match. Hi, Aaron Teagle. Happy New Year to you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining, because this is WWT's PR Princess. Everything you need to know about all things Elite. You can call me Madam Elite. You can call me Stone Cold. Whatever. I am here to all of you. If you are hopping on, we just watched the first live Dynamite of 2025, where it aired not just on TBS, but it's simulcast from Max. And we just wrapped up, and we're just doing a quick post show to go through everything else. So our next match is the Casino Gauntlet 3-way match, and the winner of that match is going to get the number 1 spot. So it's between Roderick Strong, Jay White, and Swerve Strickland. And I will say all 3 of them definitely delivered a solid match. All 3 of them definitely delivered a very solid match. All 3 just really came out of the gates going. And it's just really nice to see 3 of the top stars within AEW fighting for that number 1. Jay White, he's made his case that he still wants that AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Roderick Strong, he made his case, and so did Swerve. But however, during the match, during the match. And it's so ironic because Bobby mentioned this earlier, asking about Ricochet. And he shows up with a pair of golden scissors. I'm just like, huh? Golden scissors. And he bloodied Swerve Strickland. Bloodied him to a T. And it was between Roderick Strong and Jay White. And soon enough, Jay White ended up being the winner. So he is the number one pick. He holds the number one spot in next week's Casino Gauntlet match. After the match, we saw Ricochet just beating the crap out of Swerve, just hitting him with the scissors, his face all bloodied, also attacking Prince Nana with the chair. And I actually am starting to like this aggression side of Ricochet, because I can't recall during his tenure in WWE that he actually went to this level that he's showing now in AEW. So it's really starting to show up a bit, and he's taken out one of the biggest stars in the company, who's also a former AEW World Heavyweight Champion, but doing it in a way that's going to help him in his character development. So I am intrigued on seeing this side of Ricochet being a heel, and vicious heel. So this is going to be fun with the two of them. I know Swerve still has some business with the Hurt Syndicate in a way, but thankfully the members of the Undisputed Kingdom, Roderick Strong, Adam Cole, and Kyle O'Reilly, came out to check on Swerve to see if he was okay. He's still a little bit bloodied and kind of showing signs of it, but hopefully there's going to be a lot of bad blood between Ricochet and Swerve. Possibly. And I would not be shocked if they both were in the Gauntlet next week, because that is definitely going to be physicality. But anyways, we also, because I'm trying to think who else did I miss? We got to hear from Hook, because as you mentioned last Friday, on the final episode of Rampage, he faced off against Nick Wayne, but in actuality, he wants Christian Cage 2 weeks from tonight, and it's official. 2 weeks from tonight on Dynamite, it'll be Hook taking on Christian Cage, because if you recall, Christian Cage blindsidedly attacked Taz, Hook's father. So Hook has been wanting to get revenge on him, so hopefully he does get his revenge on Christian Cage. And also a reminder, he does have that contract for the World Heavyweight Championship. So that's a lot to come. Also, we get to hear from Jeff Jarrett, the last Outlaw. I really thought he was going to retire. The fans thought he was going to retire. Almost everybody on here thought he was going to retire. But Jeff Jarrett fooled us all. He is not retiring. And he signed his final professional wrestling contract with AEW. He signed, I believe it's a 1-year deal. And he has one goal in mind, and that is being AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And next week, he himself inserted into next week's Casino Gauntlet match. So we'll be seeing a lot of familiar faces next week, but Jeff Jarrett had everybody fooled. And that was so smart. That was very, very smart of AEW to do that. So kudos to them. I'm happy to see Jeff Jarrett take one last ride in the professional wrestling ring, and so much he put into this business. So kudos to him. Very excited on that. Also, we got to hear from our women's champion, Mariah May. And she kind of put a call out to everybody in the women's division saying, you want to fight her for this? Try her. So she put it out there. I asked earlier, who you think should face off against Mariah May? Somebody said Saraya, which that would be a good solid choice. Obviously, my client Jamie Hager would be a good choice. But also, I mean, we know who's going to take that belt from her. We know where we're going with this in February. We're going to be in Australia in February. And yes, Toni Storm, she's based in New Zealand, but she's right next to Australia. So, Mariah May, if she's going to drop it, she's going to drop it in Australia to my client, Toni Storm, because she has a super trick up her sleeve. So, Mariah May's doing what she's doing best as a heel. But we shall see on what other women is going to step up to her in the plate. Well, we shall see. So, we got to hear from Mariah May. And we got to see a little appearance from the Learning Trees, Big Bill, and the Bad Apple, Brian Keith. And it's official. The challenge is there. Trios action this Saturday on Collision. Rated FTR taking on the Learning Tree. And now we get to our main event. Rated FTR versus the Death Riders. AEW World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, and Claudio Castagnoli. I will say this is definitely a good way to end it on a little bit of a high note because FTR and Adam Copeland are wrestling not just against the Death Riders, but also showing support to the community of Asheville, North Carolina. As I mentioned, with the damages that with Hurricane Helen came in last summer, and FTR really stepped up to the plate, being in support of their community and doing their part in what they can do to help. So I give kudos to all three of them for being in supportive, not just in the ring, but also outside of the ring and making a difference for the greater good. And this match was definitely a solid main event between all three of these teams. And we got to see an appearance from Jay White, where he attacked Wheeler Yuta after what happened this past weekend. So he did not forget that. It was definitely a physical, a hard-fitting match between all three of these teams. And soon enough, Rated FTR got the victory. I think Bossman wanted the edge mark, didn't get it. Is this Plan B Cope? It was a solid main event. Yes, it was. It was a solid main event. And I know Bossman Tony wanted it, but I think WWE trademarked Edge, so that's okay. But it was definitely a solid main event with all three of these teams, but it's definitely not the last time you will see them. And I did ask this question earlier. I do think Rated FTR is going to be alive for the Trios belt. And the only reason I say that is it's no disrespect to like the Dark Order or when Action Andretti was teamed with Top Flight. I just think it has to be a serious contender that sees as a threat to the Death Riders. Nothing against them per se, but it was just kind of like making it believable and also trying to get over with the fans and also at the same time just kind of racking not wins in between, but also really developing a sense of character development, not just like in the ring, but also outside the ring with doing promos and vignettes and just really taking themselves seriously as contenders for those trios belts. So I do think Rated FTR definitely has potential lined up for a trios opportunity. I don't know when that's going to happen, but we shall see. I do believe that would be a really great match to watch. But we shall see what happens, especially with next week. Also, next week, outside of the Casino Gauntlet, Kenny Omega is returning, especially after his incoming match this weekend at Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. I don't know what Kenny Omega has to say. What does he think of what's happening with the Death Riders, the status of AEW, everything going on? So Kenny is definitely going to be playing an important role. So I don't know where exactly the shift is going to happen, but we shall see. So far, it was definitely a solid way to kick off 2025. I was not very happy. There is, well, obviously the match with my clients, the Acclaimed, I was a little disappointed in, but everything else is pretty solid. I would give it an 8 out of 10. It was definitely a very solid card. we did get to see a lot of it. And also, I think because since this was the first episode on Max, they had to get all of their top tier stars come out. Of course, Mercedes being the TBS championship and her being the face of TBS. That's another one. Also having your AEW World Women's Champion Mariah May. But I also think it would have made sense to have Mariah May be in action tonight. I feel like that was a missed opportunity considering she's holding one of the top tier belts for the women's division. I just think it would have made more sense for her to really kind of have a match on the first episode of Dynamite on Max. So that's just me. But really making sure all your top tier stars are out. It was really solid. 8 out of 10. I give kudos to that. And we are just getting started. And as I mentioned, this Saturday is the first collision of 2025 happening this weekend on TNT. And we're also simulcast from Max as well. So there's already some matches lined up. Of course, my client Tony Storm taking on Deonna Purrazzo. The AEW World Tag Team titles will be defended. Private Party taking on Action Andretti and Leo Rush. Of course, the TNT Championship, Daniel Garcia taking on Mark Briscoe. So those are definitely matches that you want to see. But this wraps up our watch along and post show for tonight on Dynamite. I'm very happy to spend it with all of you. And always a good way on spending the new year off, right? So I really believe all of you really, I'm really happy that all of you really came in and just really stepped up to the plate. So I appreciate all of you for joining. I have to give a shout out to people in the chat. Boza, Bobby, Sean, Lewis Johnson, Swag Kid, my WWT sister Honey, and Dion for popping in for a little bit. Just making sure I don't miss anybody. Eddie Foster for joining, Hassan Terrell, Mackenzie Johnson. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anybody. Oh, and also one more thing I forgot. Powerhouse Hobbs had a match. He had, well, I don't like to use the term squash match, but it was nice to see Powerhouse Hobbs back in the ring. I'm very proud to see him back in the ring. I also would love to see him have gold in 2025. So I'm very happy to see Powerhouse Hobbs back in the ring. I just want to thank everybody for joining on this watch along tonight. And and thank you for hearing it. It was not a good night for my clients tonight, but hopefully they'll bounce back next week. Looking forward to seeing it. I'm very, very proud of you. Also, feel free to jump around WWT Live, where not only I do my watch alongs on Wednesday for Dynamite, we also have my sister Honey. She does Honey Night SmackDown on Fridays. We have our councilman, Will Farrow, doing Tuesday Night Farrow for NXT. And of course, our wonderful mayor doing Monday Night Raw. I believe Councilman and Mayor are going to try to go on Monday Night Raw and New Year's Evil since it is in LA. But who knows? We shall see. And also the rest of our WWT Live crew. So it has been fun to spend the new year with all of you. I wish you love, health, and happiness from all over the world. Please make sure to reach out to me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on WWT Live. I believe we're coming back on the 8th. I believe so. I believe we're coming back on the 8th. So really, really excited on that. Also, Wednesday night, it's my night, Stone Cold Elite Wednesday, Dynamite. You do not want to miss next week because it's the Casino Gauntlet match. It's going to be super, super fun to give you the rundown. So I do the watch along for Dynamite, and also there's a post show in between. Also, make sure to follow me on @CourtneyNJ11 on Twitter and Instagram, where I do have a lot of stuff planned in the coming weeks. Make sure to also follow Bell to Bell. There are women's wrestling promotion in the East Coast, specifically in the Jersey area that I'm currently working with. They have their first show, Bell of the Brawl, Saturday, January 18th. If you're in the Gloucester County, New Jersey area, feel free to come out to that show. And also, yours truly will be making her commentary debut. So I'm very excited to do that. So feel free to follow them on Twitter and Instagram as well. But I'm very excited to spend it with all of you on this Wednesday. It's just been super, super fun to have. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, all of you. It's been super fun, and I'm very excited, and also looking forward to some laughs in 2025, because I feel like this is the year the women's division of AEW is going to show up. This is definitely the year the tag team division is going to show up. And I'm just super excited to see where is it going to come. And also, this isn't done. We got a lot more wrestling to hit. So thank you, all of you, for joining. I will see you guys next week. And have a great evening. Be safe, stay healthy, be kind to others. And I will see you next week. Bye.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.